DJ PK, we're joined now by Jason Cole, longtime NFL writer. The Super Bowl is in the books, Jason. My big takeaway was that Seattle defense was awesome. And only the Rams scored 17 points on them over the last 9 games. They were good at the start of the year. They got better. They peaked when they were supposed to. And the offense, if you don't turn the ball over in the postseason and your defense is great, well, you get to hold the trophy up. You got any big takeaways from this?
Drake May is going to live with this one for a long time.
Yeah.
Because this game could have been competitive, but he missed 7 passes and fumbled when he didn't read it something fast enough. And that interception on the deep ball, he was playing 3 flies up on that play, like with his buddies in the backyard trying to see who was going to catch it. That's a horrendously bad throw. So, look, Seattle's defense is really good. Don't get me wrong. Is it as good as the Legion of Boom? I don't think so. Is it up there with the Bears or like the Ravens in 2000? Like, don't do that. Don't put them up there. They were a really good defense in a year where I think the league was really mediocre. So congratulate him. Great year. Nice team, nice effort. But this could have been a lot different game if Drake May had shown up and played. Like if you put Tom Brady back there making those throws, or just Joe Burrow, somebody else who's a higher caliber quarterback, or at least a higher caliber quarterback today, this actually could have been a really competitive game, but it wasn't. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I like what you added there, a high caliber quarterback today, because I think what you're saying is that maybe, I'm not saying you're saying it definitely, Drake May can get there. So I will ask you, is that what you're saying when you said a high quality quarterback today, thinking there might be some room for growth there, that maybe he can get there?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot from Drake May in the first 2 years. You've seen a lot of things where you go, okay, that's a glimpse. Yesterday was just like some days it all goes bad. And, you can afford to miss 2 or 3 throws. He missed 7. I mean, 7 throws that just have to be made if you're going to be competitive in this kind of a game. When you miss that many and then you fumble and you throw that bad interception, I'm not even worried about the defensive touchdown at the end of the game, right? I'm not even counting that, okay? Because, that's a freakish play. But, the fumble and a bad interception on a play where your wide receiver is going to be wide open if you just lead him. Like, you're supposed to throw that ball 20 yards further and to the right of where he ended up throwing it. And again, this is one of those ones where he's got to suck it up, review the film with, Josh McDaniels and with Vrabel, and just say, I got to do whatever I got to do to get better and not let this happen again. And I think he can, because I've seen, you've seen it. But yesterday was one of those games where it was just bad. Maybe it's an injury. Maybe it's not. Who knows what it is? It's over now. And all you can do from this is say, what am I going to do to never let this happen again?
A year ago, Seattle was a 10-win team that missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker, but you could see them building towards something. Obviously, bringing in Darnold was a huge question mark, and it paid off. And they're the Super Bowl champs. Who do you look at around the league right now? And I've got one. I think there's somebody you're going to say, but are there 1, 2, or 3 teams you look around the league and say these teams are clearly building? Let's look out for them next year.
I dare to say San Francisco, if they can just get back to being healthy and get their regular guys, if they can get Bosa and Warner back on the field, now they're going to have to milk another year out of Kittle and another year out of Trent Williams, which, we all kind of look and go, not so sure about that. We'll see. So they could regress as well. I was expecting Tampa to be ascending at this point in time. They regressed. I do think Detroit, if they can fix what ailed them and not having Ben Johnson, and can get back to having a offense coordinator with who understands play action and setting up Jared Goff, they're right back there. But look, I think one thing we have to wonder about for next year is what's the condition going to be of the quarterbacks who are coming back? Like Lamar Jackson, started to show some signs. Like he didn't come back effectively after the back injury, and now he's got a new coach. What's going to happen with him? Joe Burrow, is he going to stay healthy? Patrick Mahomes, what's he going to look like coming back off the ACL? So if you can get those guys back to what they were, you're now talking about, really improving the overall depth of the league at quarterback in a very serious way. And I think this was a year where, like, the quarterbacks yesterday were not the same caliber of quarterback that we had seen in the Super Bowl the previous 20, 25 years. They just weren't. Sam Darnold's okay. He's nice. Not a great player. And Drake may become a great player later on, but he was certainly not yesterday. So what's the quarterback going to play going to look like for these guys?
Jason, here with our basketball team that we cover, the Utah Jazz, they had that Stockton Malone, and for years they tried to get over the top, and they got there twice in the finals, losing to Jordan, right, which is no disgrace. And it's like, they got to the finals and they couldn't beat him. And I always thought, well, yeah, that's obvious. That's a fact. But I thought maybe their better chances to win were the years that Jordan wasn't in the league and they still couldn't get it done. And where I'm going with this is with the Bills. Obviously they kept running into the Chiefs, or the Chiefs weren't there this year and they still couldn't get it done. Sort of like Stockton Malone couldn't get it done to non-Jordan teams. Do you think that their time has come and gone? And obviously they're making changes there. Or they still have an opportunity to be in the hunt?
I mean, look, if you start with Josh Allen at quarterback, like, as I said at the end of last year, when that job became available, there was only one coach in the league who was sitting there going, "Yeah, I'm good. I don't care about that job," and that's Andy Reid, right? Like, that's the only guy who was already employed as a head coach or looking for a head coaching job who would say, "Yeah, I don't really care if I get that job or not." Right? Like, everybody in the league would want to have Josh Allen, because if you got Josh Allen, you can build around him in so many different ways. And yeah, has their defense regressed a little bit? Yeah, it's been 2 years where it's been pretty lightweight. But you can find defensive players. It's like, a great old scout I once talked to, and Scott McClellan, he's been around a long time. He goes, I can find defensive players in the third, fourth, fifth round. If I'm just trying to restock. Now, finding stars on defense is a little different, but finding guys who can run and play and make yourself a respectable defense, that's not that hard to do. So they just have to do that. But I still think they're really good at other positions. Now, Keon Coleman, they were expecting a lot out of him, and he didn't do it. Is he going to finally do it, or are they going to have to go out and get a real number one receiver to complement Josh Allen and really make that offense go? Maybe, because that's what Joe Brady had when he was at LSU. Like, he had Burrow and Chase and Jefferson, and he had studs who could change the X's and O's. Just like the Utah Jazz had two guys, they were never able to get the third guy. That was always the problem. The Bulls had the two guys, and then they were able to get the third guy in Rodman, and that put them over the top for the last 3 years.
There are a lot of Packer fans here because of Jordan Love playing at Utah State. There's also a lot of Bronco fans here. What do you think of those two teams going forward?
I love both of those teams. Now, Jordan Love, it's a matter of health. I think that's the only thing that's separating him from being great. You just can't stay on the field enough, and you need him to stay on the field more. I think the receiver's terrific. Everything that he does is great. You got Parsons over there, so you've got a lot of things. There's a lot of great things that are going on with the Packers. Now with Denver, I still don't know about Bo Nix. I think he avoids big mistakes, but there's still a consistency of scoring that you need, because all these, one-score games, it sounds really fun, right? And people start to we really believe we know how to get it done in the fourth quarter. I'm sorry, but most of the time when you're in one-score games that are flip-of-the-coin games, they're really actually flip-of-the-coin games. So if you go 9-3 one year in flip-of-the-coin games, and the Bears have to worry about this too, there's just as good a likelihood you're going to go 3-9 the next year. Or, more often than not, you're going to go 6-6 in those games, even with a great quarterback. It's like Kansas City 2 years ago when they made the Super Bowl and ultimately lost to Philadelphia. I was, look at them pulling out, one-score games. Well, that didn't happen this last year, okay? It regressed, because generally it means you're not a dominant team that can control games week in and week out. It means you have fault within your team. And that's where Denver, I think, for all the strides they've made in 2 years under Sean Payton, and they've done some really wonderful things, they need to even out the consistency of their play on offense.
You think the NFL likes definitive favorites going into the season, or it's open and many teams have an opportunity?
I think Roger Goodell sits there and goes, I'm good.
Either way?
Yeah, I don't think they worry about it. What's there to worry about? They worry about counting money at the NFL office. They worry about counting money for most owners. Is their product the best in American entertainment right now? It's not even a question. What is 94 of the top 100 programming, live programs or television programs or whatever you want to call it. 94 out of the top 100 are all NFL games. It's not even college games. There's no college game that's drawing. Not even the national championship game rates with NFL regular season games. So, I don't think they worry at all about, do we have a dynasty team? Do we have a dominant team? Do we have a this? Do we have a that? They're just look, we'll play the cards out where the cards play out, because, long ago and far away, we devised a system that created as much parity as humanly possible within a league. Free agency contributes to parity. Schedule balancing contributes to parity. Everything that they do, points towards having as even a league as they possibly can. They did this. This was not Roger Goodell. This was done under
Tagliabue and Rozelle. Tagliabue and Rozelle.
No, it was actually done under Burt Bell. So let's go even further back,
okay.
Right? They did balanced scheduling way back then, and they had that idea, and they realized this was the way to do it. And the way the salary cap works, the way they share money, is all to build parity in a league, to make sure that people are as interested in week 1 as they are in week 17. And you know what? They figured it out. And baseball is sitting there going, can we do that? Can't we do that? How about players? Could we maybe try and do this? And look, I'm a Dodgers fan, so I'm living in glory right now. But I do understand the inequity. When I look at the Pittsburgh Pirates and I go, oh, they got a two-year window with the best pitcher in the National League. Man, that sucks. Maybe when the Dodgers get enough money, they'll buy Paul Skeens. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Well, we'll leave it right there for now. We always love having you on the show to talk football, Jason. Thanks for giving us a few minutes, and maybe we'll bother you when the draft rolls around.
Absolutely, guys. Be good. Take care.
Jason Cole, longtime NFL writer, joining us here on The Zone. Your feedback on today's show next, including the Super Bowl and how is BYU going to snap this losing streak, reaction to Jaren Jackson's debut game. That's all next. Stay with us.